Welcome to the Canned Wine Podcast, where we open cans of wine and talk about it. We are in Season 3, Episode 5. And this year, in this season rather, we're bringing you the world in a can. And this week, we are bringing you a very nice can from South America. Our wine nerd word of the week, black fruits. Now, what this refers to is flavors and aromas that suggest blueberries, blackberries, black currants, black fruits. Now, these tastes and aromas are evident when you open up the wine. It doesn't necessarily mean that the wine is made from anything other than grapes, just to qualify that. Now, our can of the week is definitely made from grapes, and probably some very fine ones, I hope. This is the 250 milliliter Archer Roose Sauvignon Blanc at 12.5% alcohol per volume, no added sugar, and for those of you that might be counting, only 110 calories. So it's fairly light for a 110 or for a 250 milliliter can. Now, how does that stack up against a bottle? It's 1/3 of a bottle, so a very nice size. If you come home from your busy day and you're thinking, oh, I would really enjoy a glass of wine and watch the Great British Bake Off or some other show that you happen to enjoy, an excellent choice. And as we always do with cans, you don't have to worry about what you're going to do with the remainder. So that's the way some people have described it. Now, the winemaker is Luca Hodgkinson, and this has been grown in the Casablanca Valley of Chile, which is in the southern part of Chile, between the Andes and the Pacific, and it's renowned for excellent wines and has a long history of winemaking. Now, this has no added sugar. Now, it's also pressed. As far as the manufacturing of it, it's pressed, settled in a cool or cold environment for 24 hours. We're talking mid-50s to 60 degrees. So that's probably refrigerated, although it can get pretty cool in the mountains too. So then they add the yeast, they ferment it, and they age it with the lees and the batonnage in there. Drain that off, and then another 3 to 4 weeks they let it age to taste. So that's the basics of it, probably in stainless steel, as is the typical way of doing Sauvignon Blanc. Now, Archer Roose brings us in and cans it, and I think they're located in Massachusetts. Now, this particular can, I found it at Dillon's Wine Cellar in Peekskill, right down by the train station, kitty corner from the taco shop there, and they always have a decent assortment of interesting cans. They're typically right by the till. Go in, say, hey, I heard about this on the Canned Wine Podcast, and at least you'll get a smile. So, as we do on the Canned Wine Podcast, let's open this can, and we'll continue to talk about it. There it is. A very light color. I'd say a little more yellow than the wine we opened last week. Typical color for a Sauvignon Blanc. And they keep it cool when they ferment and age this to maintain. Yeah. I smell that almost a citrusy smell. Very fruity smell, very bright. It's not aged in oak, so there's no smokiness to it. Very crisp, slightly acidic, certainly dry, dry to the taste. And Archer Roose, when they're very good at marketing their wines, so it is widely available. In fact, you could get this if you're at Regal Cinemas. They have it. You can watch a movie and get a can of wine. How nice is that? Rather than a can of beer. But yeah, that's a tasty wine. Now, what would you pair this with? I'm going to pair it with tacos, shrimp tacos to be exact, and I think it would go well with seafood like oysters or any light fare. If you're having it with a vegetarian dish, maybe something with a white sauce or something light like that. And it's not really a shout out, but I was speaking to a friend of mine, Eric, who works at a winery on the East Coast, south of me here, and he was telling me about a virus called leaf roll. If you get a chance to look that up, it's an interesting botanical thing, and it's just sad, and it damages Chardonnay grapes and affects the amount of the sugar level and the balance in it, so it essentially wipes them out. The only way to control it is to sanitize the property and replant. So not only is it sad, it's expensive. Now our shout out goes to our Spotify listeners. Come on over to YouTube and watch us. You can check out the whole show there. It includes the pouring, all the visuals in real time. I know we were not getting the intro music on Spotify anymore, but you do get the, I call it the flight voice recorder, just the raw audio. So if you like that stuff, stay on Spotify. I don't know how much longer. Maybe this will be our last season there at the way we're going. But YouTube has been pretty good. Had some good comments and such. So if you find us there or on Spotify, like, share, comment, and subscribe, all which is very easy to do on YouTube. We do have some cool swag that we send out to people. In fact, I'm going to send out a hat to the first person that leaves a comment saying, hey, I checked out the episode and send me the hat. I'll reach out to you probably through YouTube, and you'll get yourself a very cool cap. And we do have some new swag coming up, realizing that in New York, you can wear whatever color you want as long as it's black. Not so good when you're out in the California sun, so we're coming out with a California casual cap, because who doesn't like the summer and who doesn't like to have a nice cool cap? So keep your eyes open. We'll be posting that in a special episode. Now, last week's head scratcher, that's where we ask a question. The answer was Mr. Alan Green, who is the founder and competition director of the International Canned Wine Competition, of which Archer Roose has competed right since the beginning, since 2019. So check out their website and you can see how they ranked. But again, last week's answer was Mr. Alan Green. So we'll say hi to him. Now, check out our next week's episode when I'll answer this week's head scratcher, which is, where did Luca Hodgkinson go to study oenology? He does have a master's degree in oenology, and that would be something you could look up. And it is on the Archer Roose website. If you're interested, check the wine out there, and you can find out these answers. So check back here next week for the answer. And in closing, thank you for tuning into the Canned Wine Podcast, where we open cans of wine and talk about it. Remember to enjoy responsibly, and just because it comes in a can doesn't mean you can drink and drive. Always be responsible. The Canned Wine Podcast is a Center Stage production, all rights reserved.